Well, it says we're live, but I know it has a delayed action. So, welcome from the Crossroads of America, a talk show shooting with disabilities on Wednesday nights. But we do talk about guns, politics, or anything else that crosses our minds. We will answer questions from the audience, either in the chat or by email at rickslife@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. I got a Patreon page, PayPal payment thingy, and all that other stuff down in the info section below. So that part's taken care of. Let's see. People are starting to trickle into the chat. First in was Jerry Parker, then Patriot in the Dark, DJ Play Nice, Sabrina's here. So they're starting to trickle in. And I got a big crowd tonight for panelists. I've got the one and only Squibload. How you doing?
You're doing better if I could find the mute button.
Then we got the man, the myth, the legend, Patriot in the Dark.
Good evening, everyone. Hello, Sabrina. How you been? Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
No problem. Then we got Wheelchair Luke. How you doing?
Good. How's it going? Thanks for having me, Rick.
No problem. Then we got the lovable Jason Stewart.
Thanks for the invite, Rick. It's good to talk with everybody again this evening.
Yeah. Then we got the one and only New York Outcast.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for having me back.
Yep. Then we got the lost soul of blind shooters here.
Hey, Rick, thanks for having me. And I wouldn't be lost if Patriot kept kicking me out.
Okay. Then we got Well and Well Armed. How you doing?
Good, Rick. Thanks for having me.
No problem. I think that's everybody. So good panel tonight. But I have a question for the audience. And I don't know if there's maybe they're not talking and they're listening. Shooting with disabilities. We've got a situation that we need answered for visually impaired people. And what is how to take the firing pin out of the bolt of an AK-47.
No, it
No,
was just where the pin was.
oh, where
Just
the
having
pin is
issue
to take
finding
it out.
Yeah, piece of cake.
Does anybody know? I mean, the gun snobs
So-
here. Raphael's just showed up.
The exact pin location, basically, to remove the bolt.
No, to remove.
Yeah, because I've got
Okay.
there's two pins. There's the firing pin retainer pin, and then there's the ejector retaining pin. And you got to take the firing pin retaining pin out first, and I just can't find it. So I don't know if it's flush or if it is one of those weird designs. So I don't know if they use the same hole and it's two different angles on that pin or what. So
So
yeah.
can somebody
basically-
describe it in a way without saying it's over here, look at this?
Yeah. The way I was looking at it is if you have it in your hand, you're looking at the face of the chamber end, and you put the extractor on the top. The pin to remove the extractor goes from the left side to the right across the top, and the other one I just don't know where the location is. There is a small pin that kind of goes from maybe 625 to the one corner of the other pin, but it's not the right size. So I don't know if it is or not.
No, nobody's got an answer in the chat yet.
They're like, what the heck?
Well, if somebody out there's skilled in the fact of being able to visually look at something through a quick search, there is some demonstration videos of how to disassemble it and an AK bolt. So maybe somebody could transfer that into Words and email it to Patriot. I assume you got a public email address, Patriot.
Yeah, and all the videos, they all suck. All they say is push it this way. So they don't tell you. So you'd actually have to watch
Right.
it and figure it out. But yeah,
Right.
it's just
Yeah, they could watch it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you
if
can
they
go-
watch it and can describe it, put it in the words, send it to you.
Yeah, that's what maybe people need to do.
Out of curiosity, could you maybe call the manufacturer and have like one of the shop guys walk you through it? I mean, it's their fucking product.
Yeah, but here, go push that thingy here.
But if you
Yeah,
call them, you have to speak Russian.
Yeah, I probably could, but I have to get one of those. I don't know.
Yeah. So that is.
Yeah, I called my gun shop, but they're like, "Oh, well, we don't have any right now, but I can't remember, and I don't know. I'm sure there's, I could track it down. It was just a little excursion I did yesterday.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to make a topic out of it, but that's basically got shot down, So
yeah, leave it to Rob. Just trying to pass it off.
Yeah. No, it's but people in the chat aren't even. I mean, they're in their own little world out there in my chat box here. I don't know. I doubt they even heard us. I bet you they got us all muted.
My apologies there. I didn't mean to, sidetrack it or anything. I just figure it's going to be something that's kind of detailed for him to, mentally, visually explain it anyway. So
yeah,
even if there was somebody out there, it'd be a hell of a chat going on to get it through, probably.
Yeah, I thought you would know how to do it, actually, Rob.
No, I haven't had hands on one of those in quite a while.
Okay, shall we bring up the next topic then that was brought up before the chat started? This one could last a good hour. And how would you actually throw the thing out there, Squib?
Best macaroni and cheese. What was it?
No, we're talking about the
Tough puff pass.
I had a coworker bring up something, and it's relative to both staying employed and to the laws with regard to our concealed pistol license here. Gee, Rick, you know what? You got to call on me right when I'm walking past a whole bunch of people. So I'm going to talk about.
No problem.
I'm past them now. Jeez.
Okay.
That's why I'm talking slow, like some people do in the live chat, and then they wonder why that people talk over them. Okay, so now that I'm away from everybody and I can talk about drugs and guns, so here in the state of Michigan, they took away the ability for people to use a concealed pistol license, I guess, to act as the NICS check because of the fact that we legalized marijuana or something to that effect. And I've got a coworker who's an older gentleman, and he doesn't want to retire early. He wants to keep working for a few more years, and he's got chronic pain. He's tried dealing with it with things like Motrin and aspirin and stuff like that, but you can only take so much of that stuff before you start to have upset stomach or other health effects, and you can really get immune to some of that stuff. He doesn't want to get on any kind of really strong pain medication like muscle relaxers or codeine or something else like that, because that's going to impair his ability to work at the factory. He's going to be a danger to himself and others, not to mention he won't be able to drive or anything else. So one of the coworkers here, our coworkers, recommended that he get marijuana in the little gummy bears, I guess, and use it medicinally. Well, his concern is that if he gets hurt on the job, say not because he's stoned or whatever else like that, but I mean, we get cuts, scrapes, bruises, things like that, and we're in a factory. It's, somewhat of a dangerous environment. And they send him to the clinic, and they decide to do a drug test on him. He's going to pop on the drug test, and they're going to terminate him, because even though they legalized marijuana in this state, you're not allowed to be high on the job. You're not allowed to be high in operating a vehicle. You're not allowed to be high and in possession of a firearm outside of your home or something like that, right? And that's part of the problem with the law, is people don't understand that the law doesn't protect them from, DUI or operating under the influence, things like that. So he's worried about that it could potentially cost him his job. In addition to that, he has a Michigan concealed pistol license, and he's concerned that it would negate his ability to buy or own firearms or to carry concealed. So what do you do if you've got chronic pain? Marijuana is a legal option in your state, but you have concerns over that, and you don't want to be doped up on prescription drugs either. What do you do?
So there you go. Anybody in the chat got the answer to that? But we'll go around the panel here. We'll start with Wilden Well Armed. What's your solution?
Yeah, I take both fish oil and I can't think of the other little micro plankton. It's red. What's that one called? It's kind of like fish oil. Does anybody know the name of it?
Krill or whatever it's called?
Yeah, I take krill oil and then vitamin E. But those three seem to help. I mean, it's not like a miracle cure. I mean, I still have a little pain, but not much. And if I go 3 days without taking my vitamins, I'm starting to have elbow pains, hand pains, shoulder pains like crazy. So it does work. It takes completely the edge off. And I'd say it takes away 80% of the pain. Gives you a little bit of pain, but I could deal with a little bit of pain, right?
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, would you consider using medical marijuana or those marijuana?
I tried the CBD, and I just don't get anything from it personally.
Are you worried about your carry permit?
Well, not with CBD. There's no, this is from hemp. It's not from marijuana.
Yeah, and my coworker said he was advised to try that. He did, and it had no effect on him.
Yeah, it didn't do anything for me.
Where do you get krill oil at? Is that over the counter?
Yeah, that's over the counter. I get it from Costco, but you can get it anywhere. It's actually the more concentrated form of the good stuff that's in fish oil. So the fish are eating, like the little krill, like whales do, and everything else in the ocean. So it's basically, there's actually another one I tried, and that's actually the element that the krill are eating. It's some kind of plankton or something. And I tried that. It tasted just as fishy, and it was red in color as well, but just more expensive. And I couldn't tell the difference between that and the krill oil, so I went back to krill.
Okay, but would you use, like if you had a medical card for marijuana, would you use it or not because of your permit?
I wouldn't, because of my permit, my VA status, everything. So I would definitely wouldn't do it.
All right. Okay. All right. Blind Shooter, you're next.
Well, I mean, as most of you probably already know, you can't get concealed carry in New York, so that issue wouldn't affect me at all.
But you actually, that case is being considered by the Supreme Court as we speak.
Yeah, you got a better chance of that case getting approved than like Biden and Cuomo all getting impeached in the same year.
Yeah, true. But I know we should find out Monday whether it's they're going to hear it or not. But so would you use medical marijuana then?
If I had a medical condition that I needed to, yeah, but I just wouldn't be dumb enough to go get the actual medical marijuana card and still have the gun permit. That's why you have friends in low places. You just give them the cash, they go get the permit for you, and you just use the weed that way.
You can tell you come from New York City. You're scheming every goddamn way you can.
Oh, I don't know. He says friends in low places, and the first thing that comes to my mind is this panel. So,
yeah. All right. Moving on. New York Outcast. You in the outer in the New York State. You have that same mentality as those New York City people?
I think it depends. I mean, if you're in the contents of your question or context or whatever your question, I'm assuming this is a new individual, or not new, but somebody that hasn't been smoking marijuana for years or something like that. Somebody that's considering trying it for this purpose. And, to answer it that way, I would state I would honestly look into a lot of other natural remedies first. And, if you're going to consider doing something that's going to jeopardize your job or possibly freedom or rights, at least take the time and personal sacrifice to change your personal habits to improve whatever issues you may have. So most people want an easy way out, take a pill, and it's a lazy way, but a lot of things can be addressed just with a change of diet, change of lifestyle, change of habits that people don't want to take the time to do. So but if you insist on, not doing that, or everybody is different. So how they react to things, obviously same with alcohol. Some people can drink a case a day and get along through their day fine. Other people drink 2 beers and wreck their car. So people are different. And the same thing with marijuana and how it's going to react to them. So I would say for the liability of it, I would look somewhere else first, definitely. And if you are going to take that route, obviously look at the risk management and what you might be potentially losing. So I wouldn't trust any employer not to probably fire you, or at least not cover your medical expenses and want to send you through some type of program, because they may get some type of credit from the government for it. But I think it would also be an issue when it comes into family court, leaving it laying around the house with kids in the household, things like that. I just, it's different for different individuals at different stages of your life. But I would take the time to look into it and the energy to possibly change your lifestyle so you don't become dependent on anything, whether it's natural or pharmaceutical, if possible. Sorry, that's a lot, but
makes sense. I understand where you're coming from. Yeah. But I never actually looked into it, thought of it as far down on complications as you did, like leaving around the house with kids and stuff like that. That didn't even cross my mind. But, but anyway, who's next, though? Jason Stewart.
I'd have to say, I don't know, didn't catch exactly what the man's pains are, but you can't do anything that's going to cost you your job, or especially anything that would cost you, your Second Amendment rights. So, I guess unless a doctor prescribed it to you, I wouldn't even consider that, really. We all got aches and pains, and sometimes you just got to live with it. If he was completely retired and didn't have, anything to lose or anything, I guess, you could do what you want to do. But if you're just asking my advice toward it, I just wouldn't even entertain the thought of it, man. I'd just move on.
I would try to use other stuff like for me, is because of my chronic arthritis. That's why I'm on hydrochloroquine. That is for my arthritis. That's what the doctor prescribes me for it. And have I become dependent on it? I don't know. I think I have, because I had tried to stop taking it. And after about 3 days, I'm in more pain than I am now if I stop taking it, But it's, even taking that, I'm still got, as what somebody else said, 80% of my pain is under control. I still have 20% of it. It's not totally going away.
I do have a little bit to add to my comments there. It's a little ironic. I actually have a good friend that just quit his job to go work for a place that makes like pot stuff like pot cookies, pot candies, or whatever. And like he's not like a cook or anything by profession or anything, but he filled an application. He got a job there. He said he's making less money, but he's got like full health insurance and full benefits. But if they drug test you there and you fail it, you're fired. So that's kind of weird that you're at a place making the stuff and they try to say they want all the customers they can get, and they try to say the stuff's fine, but yet if one of their employees uses their product, they're going to get fired.
Yeah.
That's insurance, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I was Wheelchair Luke was next, but he dropped out. He must have had a phone call or something. So moving on to the next one, which is Patriot in the Dark.
Well, when you first brought it up, I was thinking of the whatever that other stuff is. I want to say CMG or whatever that. What's
CBD.
Yeah,
The
that
oil
stuff.
they extract from hemp.
No.
He tried that and it had no effect.
Well, that's the thing. That a lot of I don't know much about it. I have an aunt that's a Seattle massage. One of those crazy people that know all that stuff and went to school for all that stuff. But I don't know. It's just like anything. If you try one company, they might be different than the next. Doing the same stuff. Because I don't know much about it, but isn't that the stuff that if you test, it's not going to show up because it's not the THC and whatever. But I don't really like agreeing with Rob at all. But officially, my mom actually uses the Eat for Your Blood, which is some I don't know weird hippie thing, but you find out what your blood type is, and there's certain things that affect people with certain blood types. She's cut out a lot of things, and she was in chronic pain for years. I mean, as long as I can remember, she's always had some issue, and she's got that psoriatic arthritis, which is like the organs and skin and that kind of stuff, not just bones.
Yeah.
And it's actually tamed that down so that she doesn't have open sores and just the things that hurt so bad. But she slips and eats something with tomatoes in it, the next day she's hurting. So it's one of those things that I mean, she's in her late 60s, so she chose to do this. It was something that just came up, and ever since, I mean, she can actually do things. She's got the energy and all that stuff. So that health thing, I mean, obviously putting stuff into your body, you want to kind of watch that. But you can get that book online, the digital book or whatever, and it's you just figure out what your blood type is, and it tells you, hey, don't eat this, don't eat that, and if you follow it, that's just life choices and whatever else. But I wouldn't risk obviously losing a job. I mean, if you're in a position where you're just working and you just want to work to stay busy and you don't need to work, that's one thing. But losing pensions and retirement or anything else, plus obviously your rights. Now if say he was retired and was worried about gun rights and things like that, I think that that the blind shooter thing, as far as getting somebody else to do it, don't officially get a card that's on record that says, hey, no, I'm a smoker or whatever, because that's that thing with the FBI not taking those now here in Michigan. But yeah, if it was just risking, I can't go in and buy something, you might risk it. But as far as losing your pension or retirement or something for your health care for your kids or something like that, I wouldn't risk it.
I hate.
Because a lot of that stuff lasts forever, doesn't it? I mean, it's in you. It's not like it. You do it on the weekend or after you get out of work, and by the next day it's gone. It's not like alcohol or something, right? I'm not.
No, the molecules are actually pretty big compared to a lot of other drugs. So, which is kind of opposite. Like Coke would be out of your system in like 3 days. You know, so you can,
So it would basically
you
stay
can have
there.
a long weekend with that. Marijuana, it's because of the molecules, it passes harder. It's harder to pass, whatever. It's usually about 30 days. So if you're a like normal smoker, it's going to be in your system for a while. So, it's just what it is. So you can't really get away with that. Would be one of my concerns. If you do have to use your firearm in self-defense, you can expect it to be a problem depending what state you're in. And the way things are nowadays, you can pretty much just expect it to be a problem. So it better damn well be worth it. I put it that way. If you're going to take that chance, same thing driving. And then if you have a firearm and you're caught driving and you're high, I would assume, depending on the state, that's going to be a pretty big problem too, because now you're committing a crime, as they'll state, with a firearm. So these are all things people should consider. That's why I'd highly advise to go the other way. If you're not into firearms, you don't care, you are retired, that's on you. But if you do, have responsibilities, whether that's your family's protector or whatever the case is, you may only get one shot if things go bad. So I don't know if it's really worth it too.
Yeah. Now, DJ Play Nice out in the chat there. I mean, he got a good point. He says, like, when was the last arrest for falsifying a 4473? The percentage of people being things on falsifying 4473s is so minute. Why not lie on there? You know what I'm saying? Because nothing's happening to you.
It's something that they throw on as an add-on. If for some reason you're caught XYZ and then you pop on this and then they find out you've got drugs and now you've lied on a federal form, they can just throw that on as an additional charge. It's not something where they go, hey, I've got an idea. Let's randomly pick people who've recently filled out a 4473 and drug test them. It doesn't work that way. It's just one of those add-on charges. But another one of the issues I had with them legalizing marijuana in Michigan is just that, about what Outcast was talking about as far as it staying in your system for 30 days. If you smoked one joint 2 weeks ago and got pulled over for whatever and they decided to test you, you're going to pop positive. If you smoked one joint 2 weeks ago and you bumped into something with a forklift at work and it wasn't because you were high and they send you to the clinic to get tested, you're going to pop positive.
Hold on. I got something on this subject. A buddy of mine, he runs he works for a major company that takes natural gas and makes it into plastic. And he was under this tent. It's in Louisiana. He was under this tent, and he was just in a valve and checking a valve, and the valve was halfway open. He said, "Oh shit, it was halfway open." So he didn't know if it was, so he closed it, and he did a step, the next step. Well, he had a flash explosion, and it was off this certain kind of chemical that's kind of like, boom, and he got flash burn, second, third degree burns everywhere, and they would not let him go to the hospital for 5 hours. They had to bring in a special unit of marijuana to test him, and they could tell whether he was high on the spot, recently, or if the marijuana was residual. So they do have tests for that, but he had to wait in a burned state, for them to do that test. And luckily he hadn't done anything in months. So.
All right, I'm not aware of that test, and neither is anybody that I've spoken to since they've legalized it here in Michigan. But where I was going with that is they should have made sure that there was a test, like a breathalyzer test, that can say you've smoked within an hour, you've smoked within a day, you've smoked within whatever it is, instead of the standard tests that everybody seems to have that seem to be the more commonplace one that isn't something portable that the police take with them. It's something you've got to go to a clinic and be tested. You don't pass a law legalizing something that can impair you and then not have a field sobriety test for it. You see what I mean? I've got a list of reasons. I've got a list of reasons why I don't agree with the law, and people instantly jump into my shit about, well, you just don't want me to get high, man. You know what? Fuck you and your drugs. I don't care what you do. I don't care what you do, but this wasn't well thought out. This was a law that the Democrats put on the books in my state in order to win the election. And look who we ended up with because of it. Seriously, we have Gretchen Whitmer because all the potheads showed up to vote. So, and there's 100 other things. Well, not 100. There's a lot of other things that go along with it. And people seem to think I'm want to infringe on their liberties and all those other things. And that has nothing to do with it. You're reading way too much into it and whatnot. Now, if this test that they're going to hold you for 5 hours while you burn to death, exists out there, it's still not very common, at least not around here. And I like all the answers I'm getting from everybody. As a matter of fact, I'm going to try to give some advice to my buddy, starting with krill oil and going to think about all these extra added things. Outcast brought up a lot of things that could bite you in the ass that aren't even related to drugs because you are a divorcee or something else like that. And I think all of you guys brought up different points of view that I wasn't necessarily looking at. So I like the wide range of answers, to include me looking up to see what exactly there is for a rapid test and why that every Michigan State patrolman isn't carrying this in their cruiser.
Yeah. Oh, you could always
you had to pee in a cup, man. I thought that's how they do it here. I thought you had to pee in a cup.
And maybe that's part of the reason. I don't know. I don't know.
There's a lot of different tests nowadays. You can go by hair, you can go by urine, blood. There's a lot of different things.
Yeah.
So, from what I'm told, they do have a more instantaneous test, but it's not 100% reliable and it's quite expensive. So, until that becomes a normalized thing, then it may, obviously be an issue.
But all those tests have to go to a lab. What have the police got? Right there, they pull you over because you're driving erratically, but you're not alcohol.
I don't believe so, right?
I mean, it's not booze, but it's marijuana. What test do they got? Open the pen up in front of your eyes?
In a dog smell it?
I've been told they can test you right at the window on a road stop highway now, or regular highway road stop. So but again, from what I've heard, the tests are debatable and quite expensive. So now, again, everywhere you are, different states, counties, or whatever, they all have different funding and take different routes. So that may not be the case everywhere.
Hey, also trying to think back to something to take. That advertisement that I keep seeing, that quick start program, guaranteed in 3 weeks your pains will be gone. Only for
I was just going to say that
only for 1995. But after you finish your 3-week thing and it works, then it's $40 a bottle for a month's supply.
I can't remember the name of it. It's on, if you listen to conservative radio, it's on.
Yeah, it's on a lot of conservative stuff, and I can't think of the name of this damn shit now. But
isn't it Voltaren?
What?
No, it's Burke or whatever that.
Something Flex, right? Bioflex, or I forgot what it was.
Yeah, but anyway, that's
Flexol. You spray that on, and that's.
But anyway, that's I would look at different kinds of herbs or whatever to use to try to dull the pain. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I had him give me a shot in the shoulder, and my shoulder's is a lot more damaged than what I thought, because he told me, if your shoulder still hurts after a few days, he goes, you got rotator cuff or cuff, whatever you call it, damage. And my shoulder still hurts, but not as bad as it did. But where I'm going is the arthritis is still in my hands and my knees. It's not in my hips anymore because I got metal hips. So there's no arthritis on them anymore, because once they take the part of the hip out to replace it, the arthritis comes out with it. So that's pretty good. But the rest of my body is covered in, I got arthritis, and it's something I live with. I've just learned to live with the pain, but I'm not working either.
That's relief factor.
That's it. Relief factor. That's the name of the stuff.
Yeah, it's all natural. It's all sorts of stuff shoved in the mixed together.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm not working. I mean, when I was working before I had my accident, I was in pain every day going to work. I mean, coming out of work, going home, eating dinner, doing whatever, hang out with friends or whatever I did. Woke up the next morning, the pain hadn't gone away from the day before, So I understand what that guy's going through. I really do. But here's something I want to mention too. Back to the marijuana thing. I know, and like Squib here in the attitude, I don't give a fuck what you all think. Right? This is my opinion, my belief. And I'm not saying marijuana is addictive, right? Because it and all that. But I know they say after but everything's bullshit. But as you all know, well, I think unless you're new here, is I'm in 12-step. I'm in a 12-step program, and I heard tons of testimonies from people coming in who claim, right, they smoked marijuana, right, and they're getting that buzz, but they wanted something better. So they went on to the next drug, and that's what hooked them. So, and that's one of the reasons why I don't think it should be legal. And you can call me an asshole or you're full of shit. As I said, I don't give a fuck what you think. That's what I believe. So
we should ban all pharmaceuticals then, because just about every time you go get a pill, they got to give you another pill for that pill. So
absolutely. I mean,
I don't know. I think anything can be a. What's that? Sorry.
All the medication I'm on, right? If this was the old days, I wouldn't be alive today because it's a medication that's helping me stay alive longer, I think.
Definitely, without modern medicine, people wouldn't live as long. But
oh yeah, I mean,
that's. But still, if people were more proactive in their own health, they wouldn't need so much modern medicine. Back to almost that point of Patriot in a sense, but I think anything can be addictive. I mean, now. They have a syndrome for expecting your phone to buzz every 2 minutes. People look at their phone. Apparently, if you stare at your phone or look at it, check it within a certain time limit, you have a syndrome or a problem. So I think, people get addicted to all types of things, even chewing gum, twirling their hair. I don't think it's an addiction like cocaine. I've never heard of people selling their kids or anything for marijuana, but I have seen people that are just naturally not motivated, just sit on their ass and do nothing. And that's a problem. But honestly, these people are probably going to do that anyway.
I'll go ahead and just full disclosure here. All right. I've never tried marijuana in my life. Okay. And if somebody thinks that that's some sort of hindrance for me, it isn't. I didn't take my first drag off of a cigarette till I was 28 years old. All right. My thing is drinking. And if some people saw how much I could drink in one night, they'd think I was an alcoholic. But I don't drink and get behind the wheel. I don't drink and arm myself. I don't drink on the job. I don't drink every day. I don't drink to deal with these demons that just can't seem to, I can't seem to get away with. That doesn't mean that if I've had a hard day at work, I don't mind having a couple drinks or something like that, or have a toast to somebody who's gone or something like that. But I don't turn it into a crutch. I have seen people who have smoked marijuana and not got addicted to it. They smoke it. They keep some in their house. They smoke it recreational. They smoke it at a party. They smoke it every now and then. They do this, but they don't smoke it and drive. They don't smoke it and drive a forklift. They don't smoke it on the job at work. They don't smoke it everywhere they can. Then I know people who, from the time they get up to the time they go to bed, they are smoking it because they can't control themselves. Everybody is different with this, how it affects them. I've seen it calm people down. I've seen it made people get really stupid and careless. I mean, and alcohol is the same way. Or even, some of these prescription drugs. Some people take drugs that are supposed to make you hyperactive to calm you down. That doesn't make a lick of sense, but it works that way. And other people, like pain medication. On some people, a little bit of pain medication, they're good to go. And other people, you can pump and pull all kinds of stuff, and they're still feeling pain. We're all different people. So I don't want anybody out there to think that I'm broad brushing everybody who smokes weed as somebody who has an addiction or is out of control. My thing is, we don't have a way to make it fair for employers or law enforcement to prosecute or terminate somebody for this because they were high on the job, or high while operating a vehicle, or high while carrying a gun or something like that. We don't have a way really to be objective and fair with that. We also weren't doing anything to discourage people. The day that it passed, not the day it got signed into law, the day it passed, I literally were watching people driving around their cars with the windows rolled down and marijuana smoke rolling out of the cars. And you never saw that before. You would go into the neighborhood and maybe you might smell it here or there, but really not. Now you're going into subdivisions and it reeks like weed. And people here at work, they would hide it. They'd actually be in the woods doing it or something like that. Now they're doing it right there in the parking lot in their car. They can fire you for being high. They can arrest you and impound your car for driving high. You can go to prison for filling out that 4473 if for some reason they're able to backtrack and find out that you do marijuana. So I'm not, I think people were so happy to get this law passed that they weren't thinking, hey, I'm going to do it responsibly. It's like how we are with the Second Amendment. All right. We don't think that these gun laws are constitutional. However, we abide by them because we're good ambassadors and we're waiting our time to try to get these laws repealed and make shall not be infringed mean shall not be infringed. Well, you weren't seeing these people out here, or you're not seeing these people out here who smoke marijuana doing that with the marijuana laws. They have certain limits on how much you can have on you. They have certain limits on how much you can grow in your house, but it's all reasonable as far as somebody who's just doing it for personal use, for recreational use. If you're doing any more than that, or you have more than that, it's kind of obvious you're a distributor. And that's the other thing too. Really, all this did was stop people who were buying it in their apartment complex or on the corner from going to jail if they got pulled over for a burned out taillight and they had weed in their car. That's all it really did. It didn't stop the drug dealers. All this money we were supposed to get in for it, we're not swimming in all this tax revenue from it. It hasn't created jobs. It hasn't done a whole lot of the things that they were promising it was going to do. As far as somebody doing drugs in their own home, I just don't give a damn. It's your life. But like I said before, why should I have to smell it? Prior to this law getting passed, I didn't smell it. And now I smell it. It's no different than when somebody's blowing cigarette smoke in my face. I don't appreciate that. I understand we're out in the open. It's a free country, sort of. But still, it's just kind of rude. And I don't agree with this. I don't agree with me saying to my kids, don't smoke cigarettes, don't do drugs. And then they go, oh, it's okay to do drugs. And if you look at like Washington, where they legalize some harder stuff, it won't be long before some of these other states follow suit and go, oh, it's okay to smoke crack cocaine. It's okay to do bath salts and stuff like that. At the end of the day, I don't care if this stuff has no effect on you, whether you do it recreationally or whether you're addicted to it. I don't care if this stuff kills you or it has no effect on you. I just don't care. Just don't let it interfere with my life. I don't let what I do interfere with your life. So stay the hell out of my life. And I think that's where people don't understand my position on this.
I just Googled something, and according to the internet, it says you can use pot to get the pin out of an AK bolt.
Yeah, but Defense Dad.
That just means I'm screwed.
Actually, Defense Dad put in the chat what I was trying to say. If you have an addictive personality already, then yes, it can be, like using marijuana can be a gateway drug. I hate that word gateway. I really do. But that which true, I believe so. I mean, there's somebody else. Does beer make you go on to bourbon? Yes, it does. I used to be a beer drinker, then I went on to bourbon. Even to this day, even though I haven't had no alcohols past my lips in 23 years, I still, to this day, love bourbon. I haven't quit drinking. I just choose not to drink today. I mean, I love the taste of bourbon. I absolutely think it was the best thing ever invented. Maybe that's why I like being an American, So
Hey, but there is the new defense now. So if you fill out one of these government forms and you got kicked out of the military, or you've been smoking pot and chronic cocaine or crackhead, you just use the Hunter Biden defense, right?
Yeah. See, now when he was kicked, but somebody said something the other day. From what I understand, even though he got kicked out of the military for his drug use, he wasn't dishonorably discharged. He was given an administration discharge. That's what I was told, what I read somewhere. So,
look at his father. That'd be why. Yeah.
Well,
if he was,
what Squib was saying about
if he was anybody normal.
Back to what Squib was saying about, they threw this out there with no way to test, and there's no rapid test for the state police that pull you over. Well, I think that's all by design. They knew that throwing that on the ballot next to questions that were like, yes, vote for this, the proposals and stuff, that everybody was going to go in there and vote yes for it and just swoop it in there. And then, the powers that be could use that to get more revenue, because if they want to be an ass, they can go over and get you in trouble, extended periods of time, and it doesn't have to be something you did today. I think they have that in the back, in case, hey, well, let's just go screw a Squib. He looks shady. We know where he works.
The law wasn't about increasing your civil liberties.
No,
the law wasn't about putting drug dealers out of business. It wasn't about raising revenue for the state. This was about getting people to vote a certain way. Here's the thing: you could simply do what they did in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and that's make it a ticket. I want to say it's like a $5 ticket if you get caught with weed. Okay, people don't want to go to jail. They don't want a criminal record from having a bag of weed or a couple joints in their ashtray of their car, okay? Which, why the hell do you do it in your vehicle? Do it at home, dumbass. But, people, there's no intelligence required to, I guess. Regardless, the whole thing is they could have simply said, why don't we make it an infraction statewide? Here's a $5 ticket. And then it would be the same thing as it is today. But they wouldn't be out there telling your kids, this is good to do. Or they wouldn't be out there going, well, now what do we do if we've got an employee that ends up, with it in their system, even though they weren't behaving as if they were high, or whatever, there's too many issues. They didn't think this through. This was simply a way to control an election, or to get the outcome they wanted from an election without using those what are those Dominion machines. And that's all it really was here. Once again, I know there are people out there that are all bent out of shape. But he's saying I can't get high, dude. Burn every brain cell you got. I just don't give a damn. Just don't drive the forklift next to me while you're doing it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, everything I say.
It's funny he says fork truck. One of the places I worked, a guy actually crashed and tore down a whole scaffolding setup with the overhead cranes, all sorts of stuff. Smashed it, just bent it over with it, and he was fired on the spot. And 2 days later, he was back working because unions.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, but it's right. I mean, if you want to do any of this stuff, go for it. Just don't do it around me. Is all I say. So, I mean, like today, if I ever happen to run into you guys somewhere and said, let's go, go get something to eat or whatever, or I mean, I have no reason to go into a bar, but if that's where you want to go, I can do it to go get something to eat. And if you guys want to have a beer or a hard drink, go for it. It doesn't bother me anymore today. I can sit there while somebody drinks, and I'll drink, a soda or whatever without any problems, But in early sobriety, for the first 5 years, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it because I would see you drinking, and I would because I hadn't got rid of the craving yet inside of me for it. I think I've told this story early on. It's pitiful when you're addicted to something, and I'm sorry, it's not, if you if you had willpower, it's nothing to do with willpower whatsoever. There's a chemical thing going on in my head that makes me. I remember one time that I wanted to drink so bad. I had no money. I had no booze left in the house. Right? I took 2 slices of white bread, put them over a glass, poured aftershave through it for the bread would soak up most of the perfume taste out of it, right? And drank it that way because I wanted the alcohol. It's I've even drunk mouthwash too, just to get the taste of it. It's I went to some. You told about having know people in low places. I was there.
Well, I'm glad we're not at that point today.
Oh no, I am too. And where I was going, I don't want to give a lecture on this, but the reason I'm talking about it is one of my cousins here. He's so in denial. I just want to get hold of him around the throat and slap him across the face a few times, saying, "Don't you get it?" You're not going to quit. If you're addicted to something, you're not going to quit for somebody else. You have to do it for yourself. The best way I can describe it is I said to myself one time, to my innermost self, I'm done with this, living a life like this. I'm done. And from that day forward, I never had another drink. And it wasn't, I was tempted quite a few times, and it got easier and easier as the years, as the days went by, then the months, then the years. So, but that's, and I do have an addictive personality because, like I told you before, when I got into golf, I had to have everything. I played nearly every day before work. On my days off, I would play, I would try to get in 36 holes of golf before the sun went down. I just got into it. And like with guns, if I had the money, the only thing that stops me from having a humongous collection of hundreds of guns is money. If I had the money, I would have this whole room here would have to be turned into a safe, But that's the only thing that stops me from doing it. It's even cigarettes. I used to smoke. I haven't smoked for 12 years now. I think it's 12. It got so bad. Okay, so I stopped drinking I was sober, 10 years? Before 8 or 10 years before I quit smoking cigarettes. And there was times I had the cigarette and even though I quit drinking, my life didn't become fantastic, got the wife back, got everything back, was rich as hell. I lost a bunch of stuff and I never got it back. But where I'm going with this, so I had no money, or very little money at this time. So I'm going around I went out to my truck, go through my ashtray in the house to see if there was a cigarette that I stubbed out, early before I smoked it all the way down before I could light it and have a drag. That's how addicted I get. But that's just me. But if you want to live that life, fucking go for it, is what I say. But if you want help, ask me and I'll give you help. So, all right, where are we at? We got 5 minutes to go, guys. Did I stun you all into silence with some of my history?
I wish I could quit smoking cigarettes. It's becoming a pretty costly event for
Oh,
me.
yeah.
It's running me about $15 a day.
Yeah, but there you go. That's another thing I was saying. I mean, because I was living in Rhode Island, right? And cigarettes, when I quit smoking, cigarettes were $8 a pack. When I left Rhode Island, what was it, 2.5 years ago, they were over $10 a pack. Because that's all the taxes they're sticking on them. But
Jay, how much does a pack of cigarettes cost now?
Around $7.20, $7.25. Sometimes depends where you go. I've seen them. Sometimes you really do. You don't even pay attention anymore. I haven't paid attention into years.
yeah,
Really.
see, that's the thing there, Jason. When I was smoking, right, they were too expensive. I would sit there and add up how much money I spent on cigarettes, but it would never stop me. Because I wanted the cigarette. I paid the price. I remember one time I had $10 and I'm thinking, well, I can buy those generic type, real cheap ass cigarettes that were around $6, right? But I had no gas. So I went and bought the $6 pack of cigarettes, handed the girl behind the counter in the gas station, and said, put the rest on pump so-and-so. So I bought a pack of cigarettes and $4 worth of gas to keep me going for a couple of days so I could figure out where I can get some more money from. That's how addicted I got. And that's what I would give up things to have a cigarette. So
I smoked when I traveled. So I wouldn't be at home. I'd fly out or whatever, and I'd go to, Atlanta or something. As soon as you get out of the airport, I'd buy a pack of smokes, and, I'd smoke while I was gone, but then, it carried over to that, 80-90% of the year I was gone. So I smoked a lot, but back home, like my parents, they never knew I smoked. I mean, I guess they probably guessed it or whatever, but yeah, I quit smoking when my ex left for the army. So it's been like 6 years now.
Yeah.
So yeah, and all I did is because I started rolling my own with one of those machines.
Well, I done that too.
But it and so I got good at it, and whatever. So it wasn't as expensive like that. But once I wanted to quit, all I did is I told everybody I quit. And then, I was too proud to say, hey, can you pick me up a pack of smokes? Or, hey, bring me over here. So it's obviously being a blind guy, I don't drive. And so I just told everybody I quit. And next thing you know, I'm 7 years later.
But, I mean, I quit cigarette. I mean, I had help. But when it came to quitting smoking, I did the same thing to what I did for drinking. To my innermost self, I said, and the reason I gave him up wasn't the cost or anything. Was I went to my doctor because I breathed through my mouth anyway, so people think I got it. I got asthma as it is, right? But he ran some tests on me, and my lung capacity. I mean, it was down 89% or something. It was pitiful. And he said, you keep this up, you're going to be dead or you're going to be dead, or you're going to be walking around with the plastic thing stuck up your nose and around your ears, carrying that oxygen tank. And the thought of doing that, I said to myself, like I said to my innermost self, I ain't doing this anymore. And I quit smoking. Now, after about the third day, I was ready to go back, but I went back to my doctor's, and I actually took that. What in the hell is that drug now they have for it? I mean, they advertised it a few years. 10 years ago. Was it?
Chantix.
Yes.
Chantix. Yeah, it's supposed to give you bad dreams.
It did. It didn't give me bad dreams. It gave me very vivid dreams. Like, I mean, the dream was like in 3D. I was there. You know, it was. It was very vivid. But I followed the whole. See, what a lot of people do is they do the first part of it, and after about 14 days, they're not smoking anymore. But the actual course is about 60 days long because you're taking less and less and less of it until you stop. And I followed the full course. And so I haven't had cigarettes since. So if anybody wants to give up, they ought to try it. And
I think it does go back to willpower.
And I did when I first took it, the first few days, one of the side effects, it makes you feel nauseous. And I did. I didn't get sick. I felt nauseous. But after a few days, that side effect wore off. But the dreams stayed there. But as I started taking less and less of it through the course of the program or the course of the series, those vivid dreams got less and less too. So there we go. We lost. What happened to New York Outcast? He dropped out too. Oh, it's 8:00 anyway, so we got to run this show over. But anyway, that's some life of my addictive personality. So, I've been there, done that, and I said, anybody wants to drink, go for it. Anybody wants to smoke, do drugs, go for it. But don't ask me to join you because I ain't going it. So, if we're out eating dinner and you want to have a beer or a glass of wine or bourbon and Coke, go for it. Mind you, if you have a bourbon and Coke, I might stare at you while you're drinking it. Because I said I love bourbon and Coke. That was my drink. It really was. Even to this day, even though I haven't had a drink for 23 years, I'm going to wind this up in a second. What still amazes me is how somebody can get up from a table and leave their drink or partial drink there. I find it absolutely fascinating. Absolutely. I was thinking about it today. I'm sitting down at the diner. Oh, by the way, the only reason I went to the diner today, because, cash is short and everything else, that's another story. But remember that gift certificate I had and I lost it? I found it. I was going through my desk here through a bunch of paper last night, and there it was, sitting at the bottom of the pile. So I used my gift certificate for my breakfast this morning. But anyway, I was talking there, my iced tea. I'm sitting there drinking, and I'm ready to go. And I had about a little bit left in the bottom of the glass. Instead of just leaving it there, I got up and drank it before I got up. I just can't leave a glass on the table with something in it. I don't know what it is. But also, good news.
Because somebody's going to dose you or something?
What?
Because somebody's going to put something in your drink?
No. I guess this goes back to the days when I was drinking. I never left the drink on the bar. I never left the can of beer with beer in it. I always drank everything that was on the table. Especially if you were drinking an alcoholic drink and you left it there, my God, you're crazy. But anyway, good news. Do you guys read the news? Us few who have not got their stimulus check yet, who are on Social Security disability, they announced yesterday that we will get ours by the 7th of April, which is next Wednesday. So, mind you, that's 2 days before I get my normal disability check. So I am going to be loaded. I've got money to burn, baby. So, but I better make sure. I better make sure I pay all my bills first. But anyway, I just wanted to mention that if anybody's still waiting and they fell into that 30-odd million who didn't get theirs, is coming.
Hey, just because New York Outcast didn't hear, I'm going to have to say for him, Rick, you need to put a little bit aside for that rainy day.
Fuck the rainy day. I'm going to enjoy it now. You only live once. You know? Hey, I've been living that way for 64 years. Am I going to fucking change now? No. Mind you, I've got a lot better. I have got a lot better. Normally, on normal circumstances, I can make my money last to the end of the month normally. It gets close sometimes. Sometimes I'm down to, paying with quarters out of my pocket, but I'm there. But this month, because at the beginning of the month, everybody was getting a stimulus check. The last one I got, they announced it on Tuesday. It was in my bank on Thursday type thing. I got it that fast. So my first mistake was I assumed that it was going to be the same this time around. So I did have a couple of bills that I had 2 payments left. On something I bought before. I don't even have the item now, but I'm still paying for it. Long story, that's for another day. But I had 2 payments left. So I thought, oh, that money's coming. I'll go ahead and pay both of them, get it done out of the way. And that's what I did. And I get screwed by the system. The man screwed me. So anyway, that's it. Anyway, let's go through here. Squib, you got any shout outs or plugs? That is Squib over there in the corner, isn't it? Yeah, behind the chat. Yeah. Okay.
No.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you being here and I appreciate input. Great topic. Thanks. All right. Patriot in the Dark, you got it?
No. Thanks for doing this. It's great. It's great to see everybody out there. Hello.
Yeah,
and
everybody
I
knows
sent you an email, Squib.
And everybody knows how to get that pin out of the fire and the AK-47 bolt.
I don't need to know how to get it out. I just need to know where it is.
Okay, where it is. You need to describe to him, because you got to remember, he's visually impaired. So you got to describe to him where it is. Don't say that one there, because that ain't going to help.
Picture with an arrow.
So, all right. Appreciate it, Patriot. Good to see you. Jason Stewart, anything?
Hey, man, this has been a great show. Great episode of Rick's Life as I drank it.
Oh, yeah.
Good topics tonight, man. Good conversation, everybody. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah. Well, see, actually, the actual title of my show, Rick's Life, I See It, is based off an actual book by one of the co-founders of Alcoholics Anonymous, Bill Wilson. The book is called, hang on, do I have it here in my little set? Yeah.
Bill's Life as he's seen it?
As Bill Sees It is the
Oh.
name of the book. It's got little quotes from him through all the years he was sober. And that's where I got the name of my show from, was that. As Bill Sees It, so I thought Rick's Life as I See It. That's where it came from, if anybody was interested. But anyway, Will of World Arms, you got any plugs or shout-outs?
Oh, thank you very much, Rick. Yeah, I've got the rare breed HRT trigger. That's our forced reset trigger. I'll be installing it tonight and shooting it tomorrow, so we'll have a video for it this weekend.
Okay, it sounds great. All right, I got everybody because other people had to drop out for some reason. So to the chat room, thank you all for being here. Thanks for all participating. If you got any topics you want to discuss here on Shooting with Disabilities, email me and I'll bring them up. Anything that you want to know, do with disabilities or anything like that, we will just email me them. I would appreciate it. If you know anybody who with a disability and has firearms and wants to come on the show and sort of like be in the hot chair to tell us, who he is, what happened, if he wants to, what disability or whatever, how he shoots or whatever, by all means, you can do that for me too. Email me that info. All right. So that's it. I want to say thank everybody for being here. Oh, the quiz. Forgot the quiz. Mind you don't have to get the answer into me because it's every 2 weeks now. I done it Saturday, so it would be the 10th of March is when the the answer will be given. But what I wanted to know, the question is on the trilogy. Is that how you pronounce it? Of the
Trilogy.
Of the Italian Western with Clint Eastwood. I want to know in the 3 movies what was the character's nickname in each movie that he played in. What was his character's name or nickname? Email me at rickslifeasiseeit@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. Get it into me before the 10th of April to be in for the swag pack. So there we go. So I want to say, everybody, I'll be back on Saturday at 3 p.m. And if you've got any general topics you want to talk about, you can email them to me too for that show. Any help the audience can give me will, it all helps. So I appreciate it. So hang on, where's my button here? So I'm going to call it that. I'm going to go do me a couple of grilled cheese sandwiches for my dinner and go sit my fat ass in the recliner. So I want to say good night to everybody.
Good night, Sabrina.
Good night.
Shall not be infringed.